Hey McGinn, welcome back to our Read Alouds. It's Mr. Lohn. Even though we don't have school today and it's Memorial Day, I hope you guys are having a lot of fun. I still figured we'd keep our little streak going here on reading to you guys. So I'll do a quick one today. I decided since we had some fun with Frog and Toad are friends recently, we'd go to a different Frog and Toad book. And the one I picked 2 stories from is Frog and Toad Together. Here we go. And this is from Mrs. Ward's bag that she dropped off the other day. I really appreciate Mrs. Ward helping out with making sure as we start running a little low. I knew that she would come through, and I've had a lot of other offers. And as soon as we get through Mrs. Ward's, I'll probably reach out. Here's the story in Frog and Toad called A List. One morning, Toad sat in bed. "I have many things to do," he said. "I will write them down, all on a list, so that I can remember them." Toad wrote on a piece of paper, "A list of things to do today." Then he wrote, "Wake up." "Wait, I have done that," said Toad, and he crossed it out. Then Toad wrote other things on the paper, a list of things to do today. Eat breakfast, get dressed, go to Frog's house, take a walk with Frog, eat lunch, take a nap, play games with Frog, eat supper, and go to sleep. "There," said Toad. "Now my day is all written down." He got out of bed and had something to eat. Then Toad crossed out, "Eat breakfast." Toad took his clothes out of the closet and put them on. Then he crossed out, "Got dressed." Toad put the list in his pocket. He opened the door and walked out into the morning. Soon Toad was at Frog's front door. He took the list from his pocket and crossed out, "Go to Frog's house." Toad knocked at the door. "Hello," said Frog. "Look at my list of things to do," said Toad. "Oh," said Frog. "Very nice." Toad said, "My list tells me that we will go for a walk." "All right," said Frog. "I'm ready." Frog and Toad went on a long walk. Then Toad took the list from his pocket again. He crossed out, "Take walk with Frog." Just then there was a strong wind. It blew the list out of Toad's hand. The list blew high, up into the air. "Help!" cried Toad. "My list is blowing away. What will I do without my list?" "Hurry," said Frog. "We will run and catch it." "No," shouted Toad. "I cannot do that." "Why not?" asked Frog. "Because," wailed Toad, "running after my list is not one of the things I wrote on my list of things to do." Frog ran after the list. He ran over hills and swamps, but the list blew on and on. At last, Frog came back to Toad. "I'm sorry," gasped Frog, "but I could not catch your list." "Blah," said Toad. "I cannot remember any of the things that were on my list of things to do. I will just have to sit here and do nothing." Toad sat and did nothing. Frog sat with him. After a long time, Frog said, "Toad, it is getting dark. We should be going to sleep now." "Go to sleep," shouted Toad. "That was the last thing on my list." Toad wrote on the ground with a stick, "Go to sleep." Then he crossed out, "Go to sleep." "There," said Toad. "Now my day is all crossed out." "I'm glad," said Frog. Then Frog and Toad went right to sleep. And the second one we'll read today is called The Garden. And again, students, you guys know how important the garden is to our school. Okay? Frog was in his garden. Toad came walking by. "What a fine garden you have, Frog," he said. "Yes," said Frog. "It is very nice, but it was hard work." "I wish I had a garden," said Toad. "Here are some flower seeds. Plant them in the ground," said Frog, "and soon you will have a garden." "How soon?" asked Toad. "Quite soon," said Frog. Toad ran home. He planted the flower seeds. "Now seeds," said Toad, "start growing." Toad walked up and down a few times. The seeds did not start to grow. Toad put his head close to the ground and said loudly, "Now seeds, start growing." Toad looked at the ground again. The seeds did not start to grow. Toad put his head very close to the ground and shouted, "Now seeds, start growing." Frog came running up the path. "What is all that noise?" he asked. "My seeds will not grow," said Toad. "You're shouting too much," said Frog. "These poor seeds are afraid to grow." "My seeds are afraid to grow?" asked Toad. Of course, said Frog. Leave them alone for a few days. Let the sun shine on them. Let the rain fall on them. Soon, your seeds will start to grow. That night, Toad looked out of his window. Drat, said Toad. My seeds have not started to grow. They must be afraid of the dark. Toad went out to his garden with some candles. I will read the seeds a story, said Toad. Then they will not be afraid. Toad read a long story to his seeds. All the next day, Toad sang songs to his seeds. And all the next day, Toad read poems to his seeds. And all the next day, Toad played music for his seeds. Toad looked at the ground. The seeds still did not start to grow. What shall I do? Cried Toad. These must be the most frightened seeds in the whole world. Then Toad felt very tired, and he fell asleep. Toad, Toad, wake up, said Frog. Look at your garden. Toad looked at his garden. Little green plants were coming up out of the ground. At last, shouted Toad, my seeds have stopped being afraid to grow. And now you will have a nice garden too, said Frog. Yes, said Toad, but you were right, Frog. It was very hard work. And so that will wrap us up for Monday. I look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. We'll get another book in. Have an awesome week again. See you soon.